back to Love is Kimes. Da-da-da-da! The Love is Blind recap show where we discuss our favorite Netflix reality show, we being myself, David Dennis Jr., my co-host, here in person in Los Angeles. David, so excited you're here.
So excited to see. What you do not know is that Mina and I have been speaking to each other from behind a wall for the last 2 seasons. And it's good to know what you look like. Never seen you before.
Does my voice sync up with my physical appearance?
We're not wearing parachute pants as I was promised, but it is okay.
I am just so gratified that the internet agreed with me about Ashley's horrible V pants. I wore my own cargo pants in homage to her. They're normal. David, I'm excited you're here, but I'm even more excited to discuss 7 through 9, which...
Yeah. It picks up. Business picks up.
Bangs! As always, we will go relationship by relationship. I feel like speaking of banging, we have to start with the relationship that ends, the only one that ends in episode 8. You were a little bit ahead of us,
yes.
Screeners, us being me, Charlie, Brian, producers, and I just want you to tell us what it was like waiting for us to get to the end of episode 8 with Steven and Monica.
Let me recap the text messages that happened that led to this moment. I was a little bit ahead, and you texted, not knowing what's going on. You're just like, hey, who do you think's going to get the most followers? Because we just text and talk about the show, and we just come up with, fan theories all the time. We just, always thinking about this. And so I was like, Steven is my wild card by the end of the season. And you're like, yeah, he's like incredible television. And I say, he's a walking meme. As I text he's a walking meme, I see exactly what happens at the end of the episode, and I come back hours later and I say, guys, period, I don't want to oversell it, but holy we have a season on our hands. I could not contain myself. As I was texting about his greatness, I saw the chaos. Okay. And then had to wait for you guys.
Let's go chronologically.
Okay,
and get to it. Because the reason why we were so Steven's going to love Steven is because literally until the very last moment of episode 8, Steven's winning this, man. He's winning the relationship. He seems like the cuddly, funny, sweet partner that Monica is constantly nagging and harping on. Just to recap how we get there, it starts in Mexico with a conversation and there's been, by the way, 4 through 6, we've discussed this. It's not great. She's starting to emerge as a little bit of a negative Nelly, and she's kind of just weird. And the 4 through 6 ends with the chatty conversation, picks up right where they left off.
A lot of social media hubbub about her not knowing what to check off on the SAT test. A lot of people had thoughts on her confusion.
She is not confused about what she wants from Steven, which is flowers.
Right.
Flowers, 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 flowers. She give me flowers? Where are my flowers? Where are my flowers? You said, babe. You said you'd always give me flowers. They talk about their differences in financial upbringing and bags. Yeah. And listen, I have insinuated that Monica might have some snobby tendencies, but I don't blame her for laughing when he brings up a Kate Spade bag. It's like we're not in high school in 2009 anymore,
I know.
Right?
Shout out to Belk department stores where you probably.
So then they're still in Mexico. They have their final couples meet up. Right. There's not a lot of drama.
When was he gonna? When was he gonna get her flowers? What are you talking about here?
Mexico?
When are you gonna get her flowers in Mexico? You're in Cabo. Enjoy it.
So this weird thing happens. There's the Love is Blind producers arrange for fireworks, and the guys are like, ooh, everybody runs over, is like, this is so cool. But Garrett and Steven hang back to talk. And it doesn't seem like anything, except for they show Taylor being like, where's Garrett? Just to basically set up the fact that. Then, cut to Monica, she is mad. I just want to read this. She's like, thank you so much for the romance. And then they have a fight in front of everyone where she says, this is just on top of earlier, you said you were going to make it up to me with the flower. I don't really it's not great.
And he crumbles. He folds. He
over
is
and over every time.
Immediately babe, you okay? I want to get you some sparkling water. Can I get you the thing? Can I do this? What do we, what's going on? All this stuff. And she's very sort of nefariously nasty behind his back. Like, that's why everything he does annoys me. And then we show, she's like, oh, no, baby, everything's fine.
All of this will be lost to the sands of time because of his reveal, by the way.
Yeah.
It's similar to Laura, who was a villain who I hated last season in my eyes.
Because at some point I get a text from you about Monica.
Yeah, I was like, this chick, Monica. Anyways, but there's some weird stuff, like when when he's explaining that he was talking to Garrett, and it's weird, like he mentions that they're like talking about sexual stuff. It's weird, but I just kind of was like, oh, this guy just kind of says whatever's on his mind. I didn't like.
But also, were he and Garrett talking about that? Like, there's no way, no world.
Here's how it went down. Him and Garrett were talking, and he was like, yeah, man, like all these chicks are gonna be like trying to S your D and whatever. And Garrett was like, yeah.
Right.
That's how it went down.
Probably,
That's how it
absolutely.
went down. I want to go back and watch the entire trajectory of the relationship because I'm sure, like, there's so much sexual stuff that ultimately becomes a thing. The nagging continues when they get back to DC. They go to their apartment. He's like, this is like an apartment like the movies. And she's like, yeah, we need groceries, wine, flowers.
Yeah.
She keeps hitting the flowers, whatever. And then they go to this flower pressing workshop, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
Except for, and she's actually nice about it. But then he's like, yeah, it's like, some people would do this just so they would get rewarded with sex. And that's when I was like, okay, like when you're around someone and there's like little things you keep writing them off, and then it suddenly like clicks in your brain that like you might be in the presence of a serial killer.
Right, yeah.
That's how I felt in that moment.
And also, it was a cutaway like interview thing,
weird.
which they do not do on the show.
Editing decisions.
Yeah, and they decide to like say, hey, can you come to the side? Maybe he said it to production or something, or like, hey, we want to put for you to say the camera. I don't know why they had that, but we never see that, and they just wanted to make sure that we got that, him saying, hey, I kind of want, like, this is what you do to get laid, and whatever. I don't know.
And then they go back to their apartment, and he's lost his work, although and she's pretty cool about it, honestly. For Monica, like, let's give her a little.
Which is something, I would not have thought that Monica would have been that chill about it, but, she was like, hey, I got you, baby, I'll cover you, I'll be your sugar mama. She was like real
sweet,
chill about it.
Yes.
Which is like interesting in contrast to the way that Nick and Hannah talk about their job situation, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But she was just like real chill about it.
She was. We'll give her flowers.
Right.
And I mean, she does say, you told me you'd never been out of work very long. So I think he is also presented it as not being a long-term thing. Yeah. But they do have a conversation about sex, and again, I'm watching this. When I was watching it before the ending, I was like, this is funny. They're talking about, he said, I would have a Nobel Prize if I had your genitalia. Right. And like, it's kind of funny and whatever, but.
We talked about pegging a little bit.
It's a little graphic for the show. Yeah. But something that comes out, I guess, in this conversation is he suggests she's withholding.
Yeah, right. And she is kind of just like, I am because you were hesitant about the marriage thing.
Yes.
Which goes back to that conversation that she had about the flowers, and he seemed kind of just rattled. He just seemed kind of rattled and didn't know where to go with that, and just said something he probably didn't mean about. Now I was giving Steven a lot of grace.
Yes.
Here, especially because I do want to go back to the fireworks.
Yes.
Because the fireworks thing was like weird, right?
So to remind people, sorry, that was the end of episode. It was in episode 6.
Right.
And Garrett, was it in episode 6? Probably. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Sorry. So Garrett and Steven aren't watching the fireworks with the rest of the crew, and Monica gets very upset at him. And honestly, she comes across terribly.
Yeah, because she's just like, it's very weird because she's like, oh, I hate this, and he's doing this, and but then he comes around and she's like, oh, baby, you're doing, like, it was like really sort of like mean, like borderline, like like emotionally abusive, because he just seemed like, okay, I messed up. He was a little drunk.
Yes.
And she just was like brutalizing this dude while saying, oh, I love you, I'll drink this thing. It was like really, it was like a mind F, if you will.
Sorry, I misrepresented earlier. I was sort of combining the two conversations. When he is explaining it to her, he was like, Garrett uses different thinking patterns than I do to keep, but he's talking about it, and he, again, implies that they were talking about sex, and it's very odd.
Right,
like,
which I don't necessarily believe that him and Garrett were having
cannot
a conversation.
Imagine Garrett.
I don't think that maybe Garrett was talking about something and Steven went into the sex conversation. Like, maybe that's what, I don't think Garrett and Steven were talking about, like, oh, we're going to have a bunch of chicks following us on Instagram. It's going to be crazy.
The sum total of this all is, throughout, I would say, from the moment they meet, really actually before that, but until the end of episode 8, the way you feel about this couple is that Monica is a horrible nag.
Right, yes.
And Steven is weird, and maybe he's a little bit chatty, and he's not for everybody, but he's like this harmless lug who kind of talks about sex a lot, but like I didn't think twice about it. You start to get a little bit kind of weird out it as it goes along, but I certainly didn't think it was going to be
there was no question to me that he was madly in love with this woman. That's the other thing. Okay, like, there was a thing where he was doting over her. Everything she said about him, he would start to, like, tear up and cry. He was worried about her being mad at him. Yeah. It just felt like this dude loves this woman.
So then, I want to make sure I get all this right. It's the end of episode 8. And they're at their apartment, and we see Taylor there. Yeah. And it's obvious that something is wrong. There's like dramatic music. It's just like the vibe is different.
It starts with the shaky camera.
And it's a little bit confusing. Because at first you're like, I don't think Steven is there. And then all of a sudden you see him lurking in the background as this is happening. But they're basically like, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. I'm like, what is going on right now? Taylor stays there, by the way.
And Taylor's crying, too, because you don't even really know
Could it be something about it?
Yeah.
So what emerges, what comes out, and it's still a little bit, the details of this are unclear. Yeah. Monica has somehow seen text messages that Steven sent while he was away. He says he was at a sleep test, drunk. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Basically, texting a woman about, like, very deviant, I forget her exact language.
Yeah, like
disgusting sexual fetish stuff. Okay. He does not deny it at all, so which means she saw them and whatever. But he, like I said, he said he was drunk.
He denied. He says that he sent him the night before.
Yes.
And she was like, "No, you're like sent him today also."
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
And he doesn't fight for the relationship. Right. He knows it's over.
Right.
And she's disgusted. She makes him Venmo the money back in front of her.
The text message ding of the Venmo money coming
incredible.
was like, I don't even believe that was actually like in that, like, they added that. I feel like they added the ding in there for like dramatic effect because he Venmo'd it, and that ding like hit like a ton of bricks. Like, that was a crazy ding.
So, and then it's it. It's over.
Yeah.
We don't see them. We don't see any more of them. I'm sure we'll see more of them later on. Although they're not really shown in the previews at all. So at the reunion,
they might be done because we see later like Garrett and Taylor, they're talking.
They talk about it, yeah.
And there's like, she just hopes that he's okay. Like, it just seems like that's it.
Yeah.
That's
so Garrett comes too, by the way.
Right,
Garrett shows up to like help Taylor because they all live in the same apartment complex. Okay. What do you think really happened? I have some thoughts about, we know what happened because there's no actual denial, like, whatever. Yeah. But like, what do you think were the circumstances of this?
I mean, first of all, I knew Steven was a white man all along. I just want to get that out there. Just say that.
Black men don't cheat. All right.
Right. Just want to get that off my chest. So what I think happened, that man was not. First of all, he wasn't at a sleep test. Here's a couple things. One, that man was not at a sleep test. I don't know who schedules a sleep test for like a week or 2 days after you go on a reality TV show. And just like, we're going to do a sleep test. What is he testing for? He's just like, I don't know if Steven has apnea. I don't know what he's testing for. I don't know that. Also, I feel like, because I'm thinking about, maybe I still am scarred from last season and the milkshake duck from last season. I feel like he has a girlfriend or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this ain't no new woman.
I don't think this at all.
They ain't DMing
I don't think
new,
we have totally different views.
What do you think?
I think this is an OnlyFans situation.
Oh, okay.
I think he is into this stuff. No judgment, whatever, you know. And I think he's been paying to text with someone. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. So you think it's a pay-for-play type of like
I think so.
thing?
Yeah, like you pay someone to text them like dirty yeah.
It's irresponsible for a man without a job, I must say. you gotta cut some corners here and budget somewhere. So she might have been, Monica's, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think this is something he's been doing for a while, and I think maybe like he's clearly, again, if you go back and roll the tape, the signs were there all along, you know, and perhaps the fact that they haven't been having sex. He's like, you know what? I really miss this thing that I'm doing. I do not think this is a real one.
Well, then why did he say it? That is you could.
Because he's embarrassed.
Yeah, he's embarrassed. But
I don't think he wants that on camera.
Okay, I guess. But yeah, my thing was I felt like this was he came with a girlfriend or something. Like this is because then when you look back, because the way he was so lovable, that's the thing. Like he becomes so charming. He's so charming. He's so lovable. He says these things that are like, and it's like, I don't know what Louis Vuitton. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like, is he curating this sort of like memeable guy thing?
Right? Is it all?
And did he come on the show? Yeah. You know, with somebody there, like because also, like if you're doing that, do you need to be at a quote unquote sleep test to do that?
No.
Yeah, so like he was somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like he was somewhere.
That's true. He wasn't home. That's a good point.
Like if you want to text your OnlyFans, like go in the bathroom and text your OnlyFans person. No, she's working all day. Like you could text her at work while Monica's at work theoretically, and you're at home. You could text your OnlyFans person. Maybe
he actually was at a sleep test and not
got the urges.
And was just like, I'm by myself. I'm just gonna bring this back. I don't know, but whatever. I'm sure Reddit will be all over this. I'm sure it'll come up at the reunion.
Yeah, he's going to be the most, second most investigated person coming out of this thing.
It's crazy to look at his socials right now, and the internet's loving him, and he's posting funny stuff, and I'm like, dude, you know how this ended.
It's coming.
You know it's coming.
He did a little adorable interview where he's like talking about his, African heritage and all that stuff, and it's like, there are going to be some more questions going forward.
All right. Let's do Nick and Hannah next.
Just annoyance.
In our recap last week, I said they felt like a college couple.
Yeah. Kids.
Boy, that was that feeling intensified. Yeah. This string episode. So they are still in Mexico. Their date is they go bungee jumping. It's fine, whatever. Yeah. They're back in DC, and I start to warm up to Nick a little bit. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. He still seems very young to me, and I'm not like charmed by him per se. But he has like a sweetness to him, and I feel like a lot of whenever he is negative or critical, it's always in response to Hannah. Yeah. They go to his parents' house, which is where he lives.
I think it's a first, right? That's got to be. Is that a first of like come?
I'm trying to think.
Like see me at my parents' house in A Love Is Blind. Like I can't think of many dating shows in general where
there's definitely been ones with roommates, but I can't think of one with the parents. In his defense, it's the basement.
It's the basement. Nice house. Shout out to his parents.
I will say, so because I don't want to sound like I'm only bashing her. She was kind of cool about the whole situation. Yeah. She was not super negative.
Right.
She doesn't want to live there, obviously, but like she came in. She was not mean, and she could have been mean about that. And I did note when she saw his books in his room, she was like, "Have you read all of those?" It was like the Divergent series, Hunger Games. It's a big house, and he clearly grew up well off.
Right, and he does say that his kicker journey is coming to an end. So, like, shout out. If there's any teams out there who are looking for kickers, Nick.
There are. Packers.
Right, come on now.
Hit up our boy, Nick Dorcas. Yeah. Okay, then back at their part, they do get it in a fight, and she kind of picks the fight. Yeah. It's about cleaning. It comes up that his parents pay his phone bill, his insurance, car insurance, a lot of stuff. They start talking about stocks. She asks him if he doesn't know what stocks are. He's like, well, you don't know about sports. And I was like, yeah, get her, Nick. She's like, you can't make nothing know about sports. I'm like, touche, Hannah, as I'm doing that from home. It's honestly the dumbest conversation I've ever seen.
It's so bad. And especially because it's like sometimes you'll go like Garrett and Taylor, and they're like the quantum physics of this, and they're like we're moving to like we're gonna build our family. Garrett's like I'm gonna sell my 2 businesses to do that, and then you go back to them and they're like take out the trash. It's like I hate this.
Does owning stocks is your 401k intertwined with stocks, David? Hannah's brother Cade comes over, and we get some revelations. Nick has only dated 2 women for Hannah. That was, I thought, a pretty big revelation. Before
Cade comes, my man Nick is in hell. Like, he is in hell. Like, the whole thing. You don't know how to boil noodles. You have to do. Like, she is on him. And there's, like, a moment he's sitting at the table, and he looks like the saddest human being I've ever seen. Like, I don't necessarily like Nick, but he's harmless. But I just feel bad for him because he's being so beaten down by this person who, like, there are genuine ways to talk about the fact that this dude doesn't know how to do basic adult things, but she is doing it, like, a way that made me feel, like, you know, bad for the guy.
Her own brother took his side.
Waited till she left the room.
It was like, yo, F that.
Right.
Like, her brother, she's mean to Nick in front of her brother, which is, again, I just hate that. Like, if I'm around a couple and they're mean, it's just so uncomfortable. Yeah. And her own brother is, like, really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And kind of, it comes out that she's always kind of been this way.
Yeah, yeah.
But then her own brother is like, you know, but, like, I was comfortable coming out to her. Right. It's not like she's all bad. Right. She's just, this is kind of like a mean person, I think.
I think this is who she is. This is kind of who she is. And, like, it did remind me of Jeremy and Laura from last season.
Similar dynamic.
Like, similar sort of thing. But, you know, Jeremy just would rather just cheat instead. And I think Nick just kind of it really hurts his feelings. Like, this stuff is really devastating to him.
He wants it to work.
Yeah,
I think he really likes her.
Yeah.
And it was a bummer. Also, by the way, I'm a dog person. You don't hold your dog at the table while everyone's eating. That's just Miss Clean. Okay. Yeah, like when she goes to the bathroom, Nick's like, she said cruel things to me. I'm like,
and they were having like a trauma bond because the brother's like, she's mean to me too. They were like whispering.
And then at the end, he's nice to her, and then she like relents. But it's like, come on, man. Okay, we get 2 parent meetings.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into it too deep. Both the parents are lovely. Yeah. I like they're both so nice.
The thing from that was like Hannah's little brother was like, he wants to do sports, maybe do football, and Nick was like, you want to be a kicker, and the kid was like, no.
It was so. I thought Nick was like, it was cute. I thought actually, Nick's similar to her brother. Her parents are like, you're being foul,
right? Yeah.
And take Nick's side. Mm-hmm. And I think, unlike her brother, that actually shames her a little bit. And again, her parents were totally lovely. Yeah. His parents are just the nicest. She comes over to their place for dinner. The parents love her, and they're just really sweet people. I don't have much to say beyond that. Yeah. I mean, usually on this show, the parents are either really, really nice or they're
tough.
And there's one we will get to, a true character. In this case, both sets of parents were very nice.
Yeah, adorable. Shout out to them. Type of parents who let a kid try to be a kicker and live in their house until he's 30.
Speaking of nice parents, Tim and Alex is not a lot in this episode, so this is a quick one because we do see Alex's parents. So the conclusion of the last 4 through 6 was the big fight that we didn't see. Mm. And at that point, we're like, ooh. Yeah. This is sort of the rebuilding, these 3 episodes.
Social media also had a lot of thoughts about that fight.
What did they say? What did they think?
There was a lot of...
Because we were wondering why it wasn't shown.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, like, speculation that this was, like, that the cameras were there and that this was a nasty fight. I think there was a lot of, like...
God, how nasty.
Yeah, there was a lot of... Well, we do know, she said, called him some sort of name. She put her hands on his face in some sort of way. Like, we know those 2 things happen. But there's, like, a lot of speculation that, you know, cameras caught this or, like, that this was, like, a really, really nasty thing. And a lot of people are just, you know, worried about... Because it adds into, like, all of the ways that she was, like, picking at him. There's a lot of, like, Tim, get out of there.
This is a bit of a redemptive 3-episode streak for her. I'm not saying I came out of this loving her. We'll see. We'll get to the power rankings. Yeah. But I think... I did get a better sense of why she might be the way she is, which is to say very intolerant, seemingly intolerant of his goofy, fun behavior. Mm. Even like when they make up, like she just won't, if he makes a joke, she has to shut it down.
Yeah.
Like they ride the ATV over the bridge and he's like, it could be like a bridge to another beginning, and she doesn't even like crack a smile. Like it's just she's just not giving him anything. But then I think like when we met her parents, I felt like, I kind of understand why you are this way a little bit. It was a little confusing because we meet her family. You and I talked about this, and she's got kind of cute nerdy brothers and. Mom is lovely, stepmom, which I had forgotten. Right. And then her father, like something's clearly wrong, and we're not reminded until very far into that he has MS, which is, she did reveal that both of her parents had MS. The father was presented as this like super curmudgeon, he's gonna be really, really tough. Dude, that dude folded like freaking immediately.
Tim had, and this is the first thing that came to mind, and you will appreciate this, like a perfect like offensive game plan when you start the game, where it's like eight plays, 75 yards, no third down, scripted first down, like Sean Payton, Drew Brees, like he like nailed it. Yeah. He was like, I got the paper. They even game plan before how you're gonna do it, how you're gonna break it to the dad. I got to read this thing. I'm gonna do the brothers. I got steaks. I got wings. Like perfectly executed. Like, how do you come out and explain your dad that you're marrying his daughter from a reality show?
Everything he said worked. Yeah. Like, even when he was from England, he loves golf and whiskey, all of it. It went over really well. And I guess when I say, like, I felt her saltiness where her dad was like that.
Right.
And you see a little bit of a softer side. They see both of their apartments. His place is really lovely, but also funny. Like some really funny touches.
I'm from England, so I got Winston Churchill books.
Yeah, he has paintings of him and his dog as royalty, which I enjoyed. They sit in his giant leather sofa. Yeah. He's very funny about our ancestors dreamed of this technology. And so he's funny, man. Tim's funny. I love Tim. And she's just, again, she's like sarcastic in response. She's not really like, I guess, and then they go to her place as well. She's messy. He has
the nerve. Wait, we're not going to the nerve. The nerve to be browbeating this dude the whole time, amazing, talking about his outfits, talking about his reclining couch, slob. And you are a slob. The nerve. Slob, I was like, full on. We are knocking you down some pegs. I don't know where she is in the. I was like, that apartment.
It's tough.
It's like inexcusable.
They sit on his sofa her sofa, in her sloppy apartment. He says, you know what, this would make this better reclining option. I love that. I think maybe we'll save this from when we talk about whether to stay together. I think the question that's going to ultimately decide this is whether a goofy guy and like a sarcastic girl go together.
No.
Okay. All right.
It's not even that she's sarcastic. She's just like She just tamps down.
She's not giving him any.
Yeah, she does not give it. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't sell. Like the dude is like getting beaten down slowly, and he's a jokester. And it's harmless.
I think he's hilarious.
It's not even like joking with her too much. He's just a funny dude, like a goofy dude.
All right, on to the couple that I think might be the most divisive because nobody's going to be siding with our guy Steven. So there's nothing divisive about how that one ended. But Ramses and Marissa.
Ooh, okay.
A rich text.
Yeah.
As I said to you before we started taping, a type of guy I don't think I've ever seen on reality television. Yeah. Which is the progressive but problematic guy, is how I would characterize him.
Yeah, producer Brian has likened him to one Kyrie Irving, so I think these are possible. I think we would call him I would say maybe a little Hotep adjacent. Like Hotep adjacent is what Ramses is.
Hotep adjacent is and he would be horrified.
Yeah.
But how the ending? Okay. They're still in Mexico. Mm-hmm. They're great. They're on the boat. They talk a lot about how she was in the military.
Right. Yeah.
And she had a big role in the military. When I say a big role, I mean like a lot of responsibility. She was like managing people. We find out about explicit things she did.
Yeah.
I will say before we get to the divisive stuff, Ramses gets some fits off. That crochet top, I was like, okay, all right, Ramsey.
Sneaky guns too on Ramses, like sneaky guns.
Even
though he's politically against having guns, he's.
I forgot I was gonna start this entire taping by asking how you feel about living under the hammer of U.S. imperialism. Let's just get right into it. They have a really intense conversation at their place. It's long too, like one of the longer scenes that I can remember because they really wanted to show all of it.
We had Baldwin in there.
I knew exactly where he was going. As soon as he said Baldwin, I was like, "You're gonna do the quote that everybody does." He's cooking for her. She's talking about how the commute is killing her. I get the sense they're living in D.C., but she goes to law school in Baltimore, right?
Something like
Johns Hopkins, maybe or something. Okay, so everything seems fine. They sit down. They start talking about their wedding. She says she doesn't want to be married by a man. She alludes to being taught white beliefs in a religion, Mormonism, which never came up.
Didn't come up at all.
Earlier. Right. She's one of the more fascinating. Marissa is one of the more interesting people who have. Forget Ramses.
I'm fascinated by Marissa. Because last show we talked about why did they have the Trump conversation?
Yeah.
In the previous episodes, right? And I think an arc here is Marissa's political awakening or political, because social media has been all over her for her previous dating choices that she talked about.
Yeah.
In the first few episodes, there was a lot of like talk about that and how and I think there's like some sort of arc here that's happening about like where she was politically and where she ends up politically, and I think that is one of the more fascinating and a story that like we don't get in reality dating shows ever.
It's a great point, because the way she talks about her, because they share political beliefs, but it's very obvious that he has lived these beliefs his whole life,
right?
Which we find out at the end of this conversation goes back to him being from Venezuela,
right,
which is whereas she, it feels like, has arrived at them much more recently.
Right, yeah.
So much so that she talks about how it took Barbie to make her realize that the patriarchy was.
To which Ramses says, "I'm not watching." Like basically, he's like, "I don't want nothing to do with Barbie," which is an interesting
red flag for you.
Yeah.
He does say, "Don't equate Barbie and past lives," which made me laugh. Yeah, because she's like, they talk about religion, and this conversation I thought was fine. Like it's fine in the sense of I felt they're compatible. You know, he talks about how he doesn't believe in God anymore, or rather, pardon me, he feels like if there is a God, they wouldn't judge him for questioning. You know, it's fine. Right. Everything's fine.
I will say on the rewatch, right?
Okay.
And this is more about the whole conversation, right? He's very rigid about Marissa's like stuff, which we're gonna get to. But he also says in the wedding, I want to do some sort of like religious thing for my mom.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, I want to add that in there for my mom. And so he's asking for like a little bit of like flexibility.
I think what you're characterizing is what the thing that really comes to a head at the end, which is he doesn't want to be seen as judgmental, but he is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
And that is what comes across in their conversation about her time in the military. Now, I will say, I had a lot more grace for him in this conversation than I did in the final conversation, which we'll get to. I think this conversation about the military, about her background in the military, her beliefs in the worth of doing it, her love for the people who she served, and his very honestly negative feelings about just like the idea of U.S. Imperialism, as he said, but also just the military in general. I think that it's going to offend a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are going to be very mad at him. I didn't feel that way in that moment, because when he starts revealing how he's arrived at those beliefs, and then, as we talked about, his upbringing in Venezuela, for, I guess, those who don't know anything about Venezuelan history, there was a military coup. I mean, in South America, it's a very complicated, really, am I going to really sum up, like, U.S.?
You know, I did a little bit of, I watched Love is Blind, and I was like, I need to get a little bit of Fanon in my system so I can be prepared to talk about Love is Blind. So I think we're ready for it.
Okay, the U.S. military has a very complicated relationship with many governments and military-run governments and military overthrows and dictatorships in South America, and the Venezuelan government in particular right now, and going back for many years, it's very fraught.
There you go. Good job. Way to
Thank
go.
you.
We kept our jobs.
Okay, but when he said that, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, damn, I kind of wish I knew this before this conversation. Yeah. I think, I will say, like, I liked how she handled it. This whole string of episodes made me really like her, I want to say. Because
she does. And she also says, I'm a little uncomfy, which is a nice, like,
little throwback. Yeah, a little throwback. I felt like she was both accepting of him, but also showed a lot of backbone in throughout these 3 episodes. But in this conversation, they go up and meet up with their friends who are all in the military.
Right.
I will say, I don't know why I guess they were just hot off that conversation. I wouldn't have really brought it up in front of these friends.
You know, they do this, though. Like, they do this thing where they, like, you hang out with friends for the first time and you talk about your biggest fight.
Yeah.
like I would, and even with parents, like that doesn't happen in real life. Like you never like go meet your in-laws and be like, hey, things are great except for like last night we had a huge fight. Let's talk about it. That's never happened.
I've been with my husband for 15 years, whatever. I don't think I've ever told my parents, like, that's just not, why would I?
The last people you want to hear about that from.
So, but they're offended. Sort of. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
And Palestine comes up. You had Palestine coming up on Love is Blind. This is, by the way, where we learned that he's from Venezuela, and not in that conversation, but in this one, obviously she knows it. And that's where he says he generally stands with people under the hammer of U.S. imperialism. So before we get to the her meeting with her parents and then the final fight, at this moment, how are you feeling about this couple?
So early when we talked about it, I was like, Ramsey's got something like, and I didn't know I was articulating Kyrie Irving exactly, but I was like, there's something there that like he could reach to like on an intellectual that like may make him like he can throw a curveball in it at the altar because of that. And like I felt good about Marissa and like where she is, because she understands that it's complicated.
Yeah.
She understands that like, you know, this is something that she doesn't necessarily agree with too much, and she's willing to like accept the changes and like think about things differently, and he's not.
Yeah.
And that's like really especially because he's like talking about militaries like they chose to get in there, and she's like, these are like 18-year-old kids, and like there's sometimes you don't know what you're doing till you get in there, and she talks about like what you feel like you have to do sometimes. So, and he does not want to hear it at all.
Yeah. And
to me, that's like, it's not great, dude. You know, like
especially since she has made it very clear she chose to walk away from all of this. So it's not like there's some kind of compromise that has to be seeked. You just have to show some compassion and
she's
just
I support,
understanding.
And she says, I support the troops. I think what she's kind of just saying, I support the people who are in this like thing, and you know, not necessarily the military itself, which aligns with him politically.
I think he could have found a way to stand by his political beliefs, which, you know, he's totally entitled to do without sounding, I guess, not compassionate towards her background and her experience and like understanding of it. And I think he was like having trouble doing that. Like he was like, I'm on TV. This is my like, not like it was my chance, but like I need to be firm in what I believe. That's fine. I think he could have done that a different way. I will say I wasn't entirely out on him here. I was like, this is tough. I get it. We're seeing this is a couple that I believe would never have gotten together in real life. I think that's become very clear.
He says it like if we'd have met 2 years ago, he's like, nope.
Yeah. Because this was something when they were in the pods, too, I was always like, they seem different, stage different types of people. He seems like he runs with a very different crowd. So put a pin in that. They meet her family. He actually, in his defense, acquits himself, I think, excellently in the face of one of the aforementioned
that's a tough
monster parents.
Watch. Yeah,
because you got, again, every now and then you get a parent who is just a tough hang. Yeah. And Marissa's mom, I mean, it's not even like one thing. She's so mean.
The first thing they say is like his outfit, his dress, and she's like, I don't like it. I don't like the ponytail. I don't like any of this stuff. Like, you look like you're from the 80s, such and such. And he's just like, it's a vibe. And the kids, the poor kids, they're just like, they're trying to be like, they're trying to soften it. They know their mom is going to be on TV, and they're trying to make it better, and she just comes off, she does not relent at all. She's
mean to her Marissa, too. Yeah, it's not even just that she's judgmental towards, and by the way, she doesn't even know the stuff we know about Ramses. That doesn't come up in this conversation. Well, it does a little bit, but like, her critiques are totally untethered. Like, they're just so negative, and it's his looks, it's everything about him, it's the process, it's her, she calls her daughter the B word, like, it's really mean. It's clear this woman has had a very difficult life. That comes out. She have tongue piercing, by the way.
She did have a tongue piercing. Caught that on the rewatch. I was like,
clock that.
Yeah.
And I do think he honestly handles it all pretty well. Marissa goes to the bathroom. She immediately asks him for a prenup, which is just
Marissa's broke. They broke. Like, what are you? She's in law school, but like
she's in law school. She's not like, you know, starting Facebook.
Right, yeah. She's in law school. Like, you don't need a prenup, right? That doesn't make any sense.
Ramsey's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's silly. And then, okay, so yeah, we don't have to get into it too much. It made me like Marissa even more, the fact that she seems like a legitimately nice, sweet person.
Right. But if I'm Ramses, I'm like, I would want to follow up and be like, I totally understand why you ran off to the military at the age of 18. Like, this is your home, right? This is where you were.
That's a great point.
I could totally, like, get why you felt like you had to go somewhere else. You were raised in a military family, seems like.
Yeah.
And this is your mom. Like, you had to bounce.
Yeah, it's kind of, the whole family story is a little bit unclear. They kind of bring it, the siblings bring it up. I think there's different parents involved. Yeah, it's tough. Again, Ramses is fine in this scene. Marissa is fine in this scene. She stands up for herself to her mom. You know, she's like, I'll decide this stuff. They get back, and Marissa is like, yeah, my mom needs therapy, and that's kind of that. And then they get into their final disagreement, and this is where Ramses just, I'm done, dude. Okay. Somehow they start talking about sex and how they start talking about having kids.
Right.
And they don't want to have, he really doesn't want to have kids. They're like, she's like, how about 3 years? He's like, how about 5 years or whatever. whatever, normal Love is Blind fights. But then what comes up is that they've been playing it a little bit fast and loose with regards to potentially having children. And it's funny because it reminds me of last season, the Johnny vasectomy, whatever. Right. Very different in tone. Basically, they start talking about the concept of contraception.
Right.
She doesn't even, it's not even like she doesn't come out and say, I don't want to be on the pill or anything like that. But she's like, I don't know how it would go, and he's like, yeah, but the other, like, using protection on my end is like not pleasurable for you. But I don't want to like make you do anything that you don't want to do. And that's where I was like, this dude is so full of crap right now. Yeah. And then she's like,
it's got to feel good for me, babe.
And again, this is where it's like every not stereotype, but like this type of guy with a certain politics.
Yeah.
But those politics leave the bedroom, if that makes sense. Uh-huh. It really clicked for me, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like they talk about the ick on this show. I got the ick so hard.
Yeah. He's all about, I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want to do this. But women's autonomy, like he was like, nah, I want to have a say in how we handle this thing because this does not feel good to me. Like as if it's
But he won't even admit it?
He won't even admit it.
He won't even like stand on, So I found it really, and she, to her credit, again, great showing from Marissa, is like, yeah, screw you. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it won't feel, spoiler alert, it's going to feel good, dude. Just enjoy it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm sure he's using like non-GMO organic protection that may feel differently, but like I'm sure it'll be fine. Like you'll be okay, guys.
It's like so ridiculous. It's not. You're a 30-something-year-old man. Like grow up. The whole thing was really off-putting to me, and really, that was. I don't think that the internet's gonna love.
They're not, because it's a like you said, it's a very stereotypical politic of like not being flexible about anything, judging her for like certain things she's done, and then at the same time being like, all very, one way politically, but very another way when it comes to women and how women handle them, do things.
We need a nickname for Kyrie, because we got Fake Griffin,
right?
Steven, Kyrie Irving. I don't know, something maybe with Chapo Ram. I'll think of something.
We're gonna workshop it. We're gonna workshop it.
If you have a nickname for Ramses that you'd like to leave in the mentions or comments, let me know. Okay, Garrett Taylor, a little bit more stuff. Very much more just normal couple stuff. Nothing. We don't even like. It's funny. They send all these couples like on such predictable dates. They go glass blowing while Nick and Hannah go bungee jumping. It's a lot of sort of what we saw in the last episode, which is the conflicts, the discussions. It's all like merging life stuff. Kind of like normal stuff, honestly.
Do you want to move to San Diego?
Yeah, it's a lot. That's the big plot line. At their apartment, I actually thought this was really cute when they look at each other's social media and he talks about his. Let's take a little temperature check on Garrett and Taylor. How are you feeling about them? Are you buying them more? Because you were skeptical at the beginning.
I was skeptical.
The internet shared your skepticism.
Yeah, there was a lot
of defense.
there was a lot of people
clocked the race stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who like that was a big thing early on. That was like he expected.
And then their meeting was a little awkward.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
But I was like, I think they're just awkward.
Now there was a more mix on that one. There was a lot of social media. There was a more of a like
mix,
there was a more of a like how that meeting was like. Do we feel like it was awkward? So there was a lot of more 50-50.
Yeah.
But that first revelation, there was a lot of pushback on them.
So how are you, like when I said I thought this like the fish. I wrote down, I just think they're cute. He's proud of his fish.
Yeah.
She was like, you're the best catch of them all. That should be our wedding hashtag. He's like, no. He's like, just kidding. Write that down. Like, they're cute.
They're cute. I like them.
I like them.
They're getting along together. Taylor is just like awesome. She's just cool. She's like really. I know you don't want to like give too much praise on her because everybody thinks you're going to be giving praise on yourself. So I'll say it on your behalf.
Love Taylor.
Taylor's awesome. The quantum leap joke was like
so
really
good.
cool. That was
so
like really funny.
Yeah.
The friends seemed to love them. They were like, "This
friends
is the first
are great."
Time. Yeah, friends are great. It's like the first time you see you hugging them and holding on to a man like that and stuff like that. I'm on board. I'm on board. I see no problem. I think they're trying to drum up a little drama about moving and all that stuff, but I think they're fine.
They meet his family as part of the drama you alluded to, and the family they're in Fredericksburg. which is, for those who don't know, DMV area. It's like, more country outside DC. It's still not country, to be clear, like in the sense of like, they're traditional is kind of the vibe I got. Like they were like, the mom was emotional, but I didn't take it as like, she didn't like her, or that she was, I think she's just like, we're on TV, this is weird, like you're getting married, you haven't dated a woman in 7 years. I thought the way Taylor handled that was so beautiful. Yeah. Like I was really, like when she explained their process and like how they've been, I thought it was really lovely. They go to her apartment, and that's where they really have a conversation about the move. And he really, like, I will say, like you said, the drama's going to be whether or not he's going to be down to go through with it. Well, there's going to be another drama with Tex. We'll see what that is. He's pretty all in.
He's like more all in than she is, because he says he wants to sell his businesses. I don't know what businesses they are, but he was like, I might sell my businesses to move out there or something like that.
Consultant, as my guess.
Like and she was like, I don't want you to do that. I want you to still work. So like, he's like, this is the most important thing in my life. Yeah. I'm ready to do it. Yeah.
They also have expressed like their fears. Like he's basically like, I will be crushed if this doesn't work out. And we'll see. That is one drama, and the other drama is what's been shown in the previews.
It's a text message with somebody who hasn't known for 7 years, it seems like.
We'll see. Maybe it's the same woman who's texting.
maybe they were trading OnlyFans information. Maybe that was like the important thing they were doing at the fireworks.
Can you imagine? Okay, so the least drama there, because the other drama-free couple ran into a bit of a rocky spot.
I know. My Brett and Ashley, well, like our competing Brett and Ashleys are I am losing.
Yeah, Brett and Tiffany,
Yeah, Brett and Tiffany are I am losing terribly right now.
I thought I was with you. I was just like, until episode 9, frankly, until the last 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Tyler and Ashley were like the 72 Dolphins.
Yeah.
W. No drama. They were so drama-free that they barely showed them.
Right.
And then, so I don't even like, there's a conversation, I'm like, they talk about creating their own holiday traditions. They pray together in bed. Ashley's dad loves him. Like, there's nothing. They're talking about kids.
But all they do show, every conversation they show, they talking about kids, right?
So,
what are the kids' names? Dad's like, are you ready for kids? Like, what's up with kids? Like, every conversation we get is just like 30 seconds, little clips of them, and they're just talking about kids.
She's ready to have kids, clearly.
Yeah.
And it's similar, so this final scene is similar to actually in some ways the Monica Steven thing, where it's like a little bit weirdly, like something already happened.
Ashley a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. From the last two batch of episodes, yeah. So something happened off camera, like a conversation. We're in their apartment. Ashley's upset. I'm upset. Because I'm like, what's going on with my
Not again.
My angel Ashley? It was very confusing how this all played out, but it's clearly like they've already been fighting, and we're like watching, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And what comes out is that she finds out he already has 3 children. So but the way it's revealed, I'm like, like Helen Bell gasp.
Yeah.
But then, further information, he was a sperm donor, which is very different from if he had 3 children with exes.
Right.
And 3 children he's never brought up.
Right.
And they've had million conversations. They're very. So, and that adds like a layer of complication to all of this, because it doesn't change the fact that he hasn't brought it up, which is the core.
Right.
And she, again, beautiful Ashley, articulates this. Like she's like, hey, like being a sperm donor, like she's like, it's kind of a beautiful thing. Like you're helping couples out, whatever. We don't really know the circumstances, how long ago. Was he hard out for cash? I don't know. He seems to have a good job now. But she's like, how the hell did you not bring this up? We've talked about kids so much. And like, she is 100% in the right there.
And it's like his friends, right, that he did this for? It's like a favor for
that
friends?
That was also unclear. Yeah, like, that comes up.
It seems like it might have been like not just like sperm donating as much as like he did a favor for a group of like a couple or something that he was helping out or something like that, and they needed like exactly his sperm to like make it happen, and he just didn't.
And he knows the kids in some capacity. So it's that's a really good point. It's not like he just went to some sperm bank and then found out he has kids. Honestly, he still should mention that. Yeah. But this is a much more involved situation. It's wild that he hasn't brought it up, David. Like
So here's my question.
Yeah.
If you had to put like your money in which of these things is true, right? Was Steven at a sleep test, or did Tim know? Like, are these like a donor kid thing?
I truly don't know what happened here.
Because we haven't, obviously these episodes have not come out on the internet yet.
Yes.
But there's already so much
Okay, you know what? Yeah. Okay, ready? This is our internet gossip section. If you don't want to know what the internet is saying about this show, fast forward approximately 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because this is all the internet gossip, right? So far, to the best of my knowledge,
everybody's pretty clean.
No one else has been milkshake ducked.
Right.
A la Trevor last season. That came out pretty early. And
we just know a little bit more about Leo's money, but that's about it.
What? So, David, you're an academic researcher. Mm-hmm. What have you found out about, what is the internet saying? What is TikTok saying about Tyler and his 3 babies?
So there was an Instagram comment where Tyler was on there, and then there are some maybe exes and maybe some people popped up, and they're just kind of like, yo, this dude's a scammer. This guy is a cheater. And they bringing up the fact that early on in their relationship, he says, people are going to come out the woodwork. They may say different things, stuff like that.
Right,
very, very early in the season.
Right.
And then there is a lot of speculation, a lot of people who claim to have like some sort of proof or whatever, who say that these are his kids. And he is like scrubbed a lot of social media and stuff like that. That there is a lot of belief that he has 3 kids, like with exes.
With exes, not with.
Right, not with like donating sperm, not with anything like that. That he has exes and kids, and has posted.
I don't believe that. I'm going to say that because
he's posted like "Happy Birthday" to my, which is possible.
I think people are misinterpreting. I think it's most likely that it's his friends, and that he did it as favors to friends. Because if it was true exes, this man is not dumb enough to think he could get away with that. Like, that is so insane to think that you can cover up. Like, I think this is just Reddit detectives being a little bit overzealous, or TikTok detectives. And I'm not saying it justifies him not telling her. That's the problem here. The fact that he didn't tell her is insane. Yeah. But I don't think it's like.
Yeah, that's the hub. I think I'm with you on that. However, this is a huge red flag here.
The fact that he didn't tell her.
The fact that he didn't tell her.
Wild.
And why would you not tell her? Like, what is the thing that you were hiding from her that you would not tell her that, hey, because the way that their relationship is, I think that she would have found, in the pods, she would have been like, this is beautiful. Right?
Yeah,
she would have been like, this is awesome.
He could have spun, I don't know.
Right, like he tells a story about his mom and his parents, his upbringing. It's like, hey, I wanted to do something for my friends. I have these kids. They're not mine, but like, whatever. I think she would have been 100% in on it. And again, they talk about kids 93% of the time they're on.
That's what we're showing.
That we see them on, is they're talking about kids. And she says it. You had ample opportunity to tell me. And he had tons of opportunity. He lied to her dad.
Yeah.
That's part of it too. Like, he didn't tell her dad.
What if he convinces her that he barely knows anything about them and they show up at the wedding as flower children? All right. Speaking of weddings, let us now do our prediction game.
Let's do it.
All right. As always, we are going to predict whether or not these couples say "I do" when they make it to the aisle. Some of them won't make it to the aisle at all. Stephen and Monica are off the board.
Hashtag Black Love lasted 1 episode.
Shoot their faces into the sky like the Hunger Games book series that I'm sure is on Nick's bookshelf at home. All right, let's start with Tyler and Ashley because we just talked about them. I do want to see the Flower Girls, but that's a no.
That's a no.
I don't know how you get past that.
I think more is gonna come out about Tyler. I don't think we're done with Tyler. My favorite thing is people seeing like the speculation about Tyler already and being like, DC is back. This is the DC I know and love.
No, Tyler, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Okay, let's do the other. Garrett and Taylor.
This is a layup. I think unless they disagree on like a science equation, I think we're good. We're good to go.
Yeah, I think her mom caves. I think that's and I think the ex texting thing will blow over.
I think so. Who could be texting? Like, what is he talking about?
I'm interested in seeing it because they've been so drama free.
She is crying in the previews. There are some tears of her. Maybe it's reaction to Monica's thing. I don't know, but she might be crying.
All right, Ramses and Marissa. This one.
You go first. Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
a no here.
I'm a
a
no.
And like, what's interesting is
Close.
I'm Team Marissa. Like,
Yeah,
she
fully.
has like had a full turn
Yes.
from the earlier seasons, and my hope is that it's a no. My hope is that's a no for her sake, because
yeah.
we do see her and Bodon. His name?
Yes.
They
oh,
have
yeah.
he
They had a
says
little
she
reconnection.
says she's pretty and all that stuff. There's a little bit of that going on. And Ramses, we know, is a judgmental man. So like, there's
he might be weird about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be like, I mean, I'm not judging you, but
I'm not judging, but don't be like
okay.
A two-timer.
Let's say Tim and Alex.
Ooh.
I'm actually yes.
Yes. Okay.
Here's why. The degree of seriousness with which he approached that conversation with their dad is why I'm a yes.
Yeah.
Even though I have very mixed feelings about this couple.
They may say, again, this is more of a hopeful thing. I want Tim to be happy. And you know what? There was no dog stuff going on here.
No dog, by the way,
dog.
period.
He does have a dog.
But we saw the painting of the dog, but they didn't
There's a painting of a dog. Maybe the dog didn't want to be on TV.
We saw a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the dog is like the dads. They don't want to be on TV. Maybe trying to protect his dog's privacy.
I like all the theories about it. Somebody pointed out he's a Georgia Bulldogs fan in the comments, which I appreciated. Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, we have just one more, Nick and Hannah. Ooh.
No.
I don't want this to happen.
I don't think
it's
so.
gonna happen.
You know what's so interesting is after like the first batch, after it seemed like everybody was like pretty much everybody was yes except for Tim and Ash. I think we have the most doubts about.
Yeah.
This may be like we may only have one yes.
Taylor and Garrett.
Yeah.
After them, who do you think is the second most likely? Because I think you were all no's, right? Other than that.
Yeah, I think I was all no's.
Who do you think is the second most?
I would probably have to say Tim and Ashley.
Yeah.
Would probably be the most.
Well, they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, they're going the right. Even though there's a fight about like her with his parents and stuff like that. You know, I don't know. I think I'm more Tim than in terms of like where he is, like his preparation, all of that, like his readiness.
Yeah.
Like
you think she might say no?
I think she. Well, no, I think he might say no because he just sees like.
Yeah, it could be one of those where he does everything right and then makes the correct decision for him at the end. Kind of the who was the guy who dumped Micah, the science guy, Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
Like a Paul moment.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to change my Nick and Hannah vote. That's a no. I don't think she likes him. I don't know why I say
she don't like him at all.
All right, well, that brings us to the power rankings. I'll start with my first two. I don't think you'll be terribly surprised. I'm going, might not be able to see this on the camera, Taylor 1, Marissa 2.
Oh, I was
big come up for Marissa.
Yeah, big rise from Marissa. I thought you were just going to go paper. I thought you were going to go chalk. I thought you were going to go Taylor and Garrett. I thought you were going to go Taylor and Garrett. But yeah, Marissa, big showing from her.
I feel like she has emerged as like the surprising rich character.
Yeah.
Like the most complex, and like the way she's handled everything I think has been great. I love that she stood up for herself to Ramses.
Which is why this like political arc, because it ain't over, right? I think it'll be a huge part of why I think it's a no. I think they're just gonna not align on it.
So I'm gonna put Garrett 3.
Okay.
Garrett's really, other than Nick and Tim. Well, no, I'll put it in that. I'm putting Ashley at 4, even though what happens is like the end, bad for her, but she is going to reap the internet's love.
Okay.
So I am giving her 4. She's coming out of this smelling like roses. She is like beautiful and funny and great, and sorry that she appears to have picked a lemon. We'll see.
Yeah.
But Ashley's great.
There's a lot of praise. There's a lot of face card, never declined posts about her because she is easy on the eye, especially on the face.
She's
the
very pretty.
Outfits are getting a little drubbing on the internet, but face card does not decline.
Okay, next we got two dudes. Tim.
Okay.
Great series for Tim.
Yeah.
Crushed these few episodes.
Yeah.
And then Nick, who I feel like benefits from being the beleaguered partner in the Nick and Hannah relationship. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Tim with an incredible come up. I think just the way, like I said, the way he executed the talking to the parents was just like
Incredible.
the move. Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. Now it starts getting a little bit trickier. By the way, Steven and Monica are included in this bunch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Obviously not yet. So after Tim and Nick, I'm putting Ashley here.
Okay.
Or no, Alex, I meant, sorry.
Alex, yeah.
There's too many T and A names this season. Still don't like Alex, but she does have a good 3 episodes here. Mm-hmm. And then Hannah, who's just pretty terrible in this. But the parents love her.
They love her. Yeah,
she's also kinda, like normal terrible, not like.
Yeah, it was alarming when her own brother was like whispering to the partner, confiding in the partner about how mean she is.
Okay, so the terrible foursome: Ramses, Tyler, Monica, and Steven.
Oh.
It pains me to do this in the same way that it pained me to see Laura get vindication.
Yeah.
Because you know I hated Laura.
Yes.
But I am going to put Monica at 9.
Okay.
Because I weirdly think the relationship ending the way it does is going to save her from the ire of the public.
Maybe she can tell Steven to kick rocks with open-toed shoes on.
Ugh, triggering. I hated that woman. And then Ramses, I'm going to put Ramses above Tyler and Steven because Ramses it's tough, but it's not secret children and secret OnlyFans tough.
Okay. I'm doing some pushback here. Okay. We'll see where you end up here.
I mean, I gotta put Steven at the bottom. That's just, it's because not only, it's just, you're going out so sad.
Yeah, so I think Steven is tough because we believed in him so much. And
it's just such a rise and
fall. It's a quick one.
But Tyler as well. Equally.
Tyler is tough. But yeah, Tyler's lying. But here's the thing. Here's why I would put Ramses below them, right? I would put Ramses at the bottom, actually. This is why I put Ramses at the bottom. Steven, just did a little texting about some pegging. That's all he did. He did a little.
We don't know that's what it was. Alleged.
He did a little pegging texting. Tyler lied. Yes. Ramses said, "We're going to have the sex that I want to have, and you can't say anything about that."
Here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. At this point, defending Steven is like catching a falling knife. Like, more stuff.
I know.
Tyler, too, sort of. We'll see. The reason I actually didn't put Tyler on the bottom is I think if it comes out that it was like his friends or whatever, it still sucks that he didn't tell her. There is a path for Tyler to come out of this not as a total villain.
Right.
I just think our boy Steven is
Let me see this. I'm not going to erase. Just hand it here. I just wanted to see this, and I'm going to look directly in the camera. Washington, D.C. We knew this was coming. 3 black men at the bottom. We knew this was coming. We said, Washington, D.C., do better than this.
Tim!
3
we need you, Tim.
3 need you, Tim. This is all we got left. When they said we were casting for D.C., everybody said the brothers were going to be looking bad. And look at us. We got 2 3/5 of a black man at the bottom looking terrible on the show. We need better than this. Please, I'm begging you. This is what we knew was going to happen, Washington, D.C. brothers. This is what we're doing.
Trade Steven back.
No, take him back. Take him back. Give us Sean King back and take Steven, please.
Oh, God. All right, we will be back next week. Sorry, guys, you got to wait until next week for the next episode. This has been Love is Kimes. As always, share your opinions, your takes, internet gossip in the comments. We love the commenters. I read them all. Talk to you guys next week.